What up, it's Chris from Laser Lemming and UpandLoaded.com. Now, I know it's been a long time since you've seen me. I understand that. It's been a while. I haven't put a video on this channel or my comedy channel in a good minute. And the reasons being are not that interesting, other than life is difficult. Life is difficult, but you never give up. I haven't given up. In fact, I have not been sitting on my ass this whole time. I have been working that ass off on a super secret project or two that I hope to announce soon. I'm very excited about it. You should be too. Anyway, let's get into the meat and potatoes of this thing today, which is Nintendo, which is the Switch, which is third parties. Which is which? Let's start. So, today, or tomorrow, if you're watching this tomorrow, or the next day, or 100 years from now, because you're a super fan. If you're a super fan, you will watch this 100 years from now. Anyway, Nintendo did this Nintendo Direct. And they announced it a few days ago. They said, hey, it's going to be 45 minutes long. We're going to talk about Switch games coming out this year, maybe a little bit next year. And some 3DS games. Actually, a lot of 3DS games, it turns out. But they burned through those real quick. They said, hey, Mario Top 100, Mario Party Top 100 mini games is coming to the 3DS. You know, a lot of these cool 3DS games are coming out. I'm like, damn, it'd be nice if there was a Switch port as well. Because the 3DS, awesome system, but it's also a system that's almost 7 years old at this point. I want to play games on my Switch. So if you could do both, if, you know, Metroid Samus Returns could come high-res to the Switch as well, play the hell out of that, Nintendo. Anyway, you might have noticed when Nintendo did their E3 this year, which was also about 45 minutes long, there was not many third-party games. There was Rocket League and Skyrim. I think they also announced Payday 2, which doesn't seem to be coming to the system anymore, and nobody cared. So, there are some other games that have been announced recently, including, you know, Skyrim got a date. I think it was November something, November 15th. We'll say that officially. Skyrim, November 15th. But also, Bethesda, this company who thought Nintendo was poison for like the last 30 years or so. You know, they released some games on the NES, and I think they just stopped after that. They said, you know, we're good. We're good. No more Nintendo. But now they've got Skyrim coming out, and not only that, they've got Doom coming out. You remember Doom. I remember Doom. Doom was a fun game. I'm going to buy it again, I think. Coming to the Switch. Doom 2016 is coming in 2017, this year, to the Nintendo Switch. Also, they announced from the same company, Bethesda, Wolfenstein 2. I think it's the New Order, but that might be an old game. I can't remember. Let's just call it the New Order. Wolfenstein 2. It's really Wolfenstein like 11. The Roman numerals might as well be 11. But there's been a lot of Wolfensteins, and this one is coming to the Switch. This is also, nobody expected this. You know, Doom? Cool. That's great. A Doom port. It's a game from last year, but it was also a PS4 game, and an Xbox One game, and a PC game. And so many people said, no. This doesn't make sense, because the Switch is not as powerful as the PlayStation 4 or the Xbox One, but here it is, running this game. And, you know, I saw the footage, the little bit of footage they showed. Didn't look quite as sharp, but it looked good. It looked good. I think I'm going to get it again, because that Doom game, if you haven't played it, it's just pure old-school first-person shooter. There's health packs, no reloading. It's just, you try to hit the reload button, your guy pulls out a chainsaw, and you just ram it through those demons. Fun game. You should get it. And this Wolfenstein game is not going to come out at the same time as the PS4, Xbox One, and PC versions. Coming out a little bit later, early next year. But I'm going to wait, yo. I'm going to wait. And this is just amazing. This is just amazing just from the perspective of somebody like myself. Somebody who has been a Nintendo fan, but I've also owned other consoles. I owned a 360 for a time being, and I've owned pretty much every PlayStation console outside of the PS1. But, you know, I kind of did. My brother did. And, you know, the PS2 was backwards compatible, so I had a bunch of PS1 games. That's not the point. I have just seen, as a Nintendo fan, that third parties have gotten further and further away from this system. You know, during the GameCube years, third-party support was better than it was on the N64. And a lot of people blame that or attribute that to the fact that they used DVDs. Now, there were many DVDs, and that caused some problems of its own, but outside of that, it was a lot cheaper for third parties to get on the system. And the system was easier to develop for than the N64, I believe. Who knows? I'm talking out of my ass. Anyway, as time went on, you know, the Wii was a huge hit, and it got third-party support, but most of it was trash, because the system was not on the same level power-wise as the PlayStation 3 or the Xbox 360, not even close. But the big games weird port or not, offshoot or not, the Wii got them. Wii U, not so much. Third-party support, dead, practically on arrival. Switch, things have changed. Things have changed. And you see that through weird things like this happening. Bethesda, company that didn't like Nintendo, is now the biggest third-party supporter of Nintendo, it seems. Because if you compare it, you've got Ubisoft, they've got Rabbids and Mario, which is a fun game, by the way. You should play it if you're just into strategy of any kind, chess, Advance Wars, XCOM, whatever. People really like this game, myself included, and you can play it co-op. I like that. I sound like a freaking commercial right now, but I'm just kind of excited. Also, another developer that hasn't been on a Nintendo system in a while is Rockstar Games, coming out with these LA Noire, not remake, but remaster, I guess, with all the DLC and blah, 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 blah. Extra Switch features like HD Rumble, motion control, touch control on the go, blah, blah, blah. That's pretty cool. Rockstar was another developer. You know, they didn't have as long of a sleeping period as Bethesda did. They weren't waiting for 30 years, but they're waiting about 8 or 9 years since Manhunt 2 came out on the Wii. But hey, they're back. And this was a game that was rumored to be coming out for the Switch for, I want to say, almost a year now. And the rumor was true. It's happening. And a lot of people are like, oh, it's LA Noire. It's going to be boring. It's slow. It's something. And you know what? You count that with the 3 Bethesda games. You got LA Noire, Skyrim, Doom, and Wolfenstein. That is 4 M-rated games coming to the Switch from third parties. Why did it take so long? All of these developers were just sitting on money because the Switch didn't have mature rated games on the system. And this might seem just basic. I mean, it's not that deep of a concept to get, but you're missing out on money. When Mario Kart came out, it was the first big arcade racer, and you know, it was Mario Kart, sold gangbusters. Street Fighter 2 came out, sold way better than it deserved to, but it was pretty much the first good 2D fighter on the Switch. Early onto the lifetime of a popular system like the Switch, or the Wii, or the PlayStation 4, or the Super Nintendo, whatever it is, if it's a system that's catching fire quickly, Nintendo DS, not the 3DS so much, didn't start off that well in the beginning, but the 3DS was a popular system down the line. You know, during that time, during that launch period, that's when you strike. You strike when the iron's hot because there's not as much competition out there. Granted, there's not as many system owners, but those system owners that are out there are seeking games. They're seeking good games. So if these M-rated AAA third-party games were there at launch, regardless, you know, if it was a Call of Duty port, whatever it was, if it was there at launch, it would have sold pretty well. It would have sold pretty well. But, you know, these developers were sitting on it. Now, granted, Bethesda announced Skyrim with the announcement of the Switch, so it's not like they didn't care. They were just developing the game, trying to get it done. So, hats off. Hats off. Nintendo, I was not expecting this. They showed a lot of games, and they showed Xenoblade for like 300 hours. Too much Xenoblade, even though it looks better than, you know, I'm not a big JRPG guy. Octopath Traveler, visually, I'm amazed. That's that 2D game that's in a 3D world, isometrically. It looks awesome visually. I'm just not a big JRPG guy. But the games look pretty good. And as somebody like myself, who didn't have to worry about too many games coming into a Nintendo system, I suddenly feel like I have to worry. I'm just thinking, oh, I want that game, I want that game, I want that game. I'm going to rebuy Rocket League. I'm going to rebuy Doom. You know, I'm going to rebuy LA Noire. I got that $5 on Steam. Never really played too much of it. But also that morphing game, that morphing third-person shooter looks pretty cool, where you shoot the guy in the head, his head gets smaller, or his legs get smaller. If you shoot him in the leg, shoot him in the dick, his dick gets smaller. That looks pretty cool. I just feel like there's a lot of genre gaps on this system that are not being filled. I mean, they're slowly getting there. Most of them are being filled by indies. Third parties are coming around, though. EA needs to come around. You know, they've got FIFA. They've got this indie game coming to the Switch, and that's all they've got right now. I think legally they have to put Madden on the system eventually. At least one. At least one Madden, at least one FIFA. That's in the contract in order to have these exclusive licenses. Anyway, I ramble, but I'm just excited. I'm excited about Nintendo doing a little bit better because this is good for the industry. I was never a fan of the idea that, you know, you only own a Nintendo system for Nintendo games, because that is not a healthy system. Unless Nintendo is just pumping out game after game after game after game, like 2-3 games a month, 2-3 big games a month. That's just, you can't sustain a system that way, not in a healthy way. And that's what the Wii U ended up being, outside of some indies and very minimal third-party support. So it's good to see Nintendo doing well, because it's healthy for the industry. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. How much do you think I rambled? How much do you think I just was like way too much gushing? Too much gushing, I think. Too much excitement over this. I'm just happy to be in front of the camera talking to you again. I have not said this many words in the last 2 months. So, hats off to you. Literally, hats off. Oh, by the way, this hat I got in college from my girlfriend at the time, my wife now, and it didn't fit me. Didn't fit me. She said, just get the biggest hat you have. Just the biggest version. The biggest size. And my head, it didn't fit. I just had a big head, so she said, get the biggest one. Now it fits. My head has gotten bigger. I'm worried. Let me know your thoughts, comment section below. What do you think of my head? What do you think about Nintendo's third-party situation? You think it's going to get better? I think it will. Comment section below. I'm happy to be back. See you soon. Oh, and subscribe, please.